Ghost of Tsushima is widely praised for its beauty, its combat, and its emotional moments, but no game is flawless. With the Ghost of Yotai just around the corner, we're going to walk through everything wrong with Ghost of Tsushima, the inconsistencies, the plot holes, the gameplay design issues, and the narrative problems. Let's dive in. The game sets itself during the first Mongol invasion in Japan in 1274, which is real, but many of the clans, characters, and some events are fictional or dramatized. Immediately afterward, Jin is rescued by Yuna, his uncle is captured, and the rest seem defeated. Yet, later, samurai across the island still hold enough strength that Jin can recruit them. Jin realizes that traditional samurai tactics won't beat the Mongols, so he turns to stealth, traps, ambushes, poisons, etc. The narrative often claims that these are dishonorable tactics that are needed because the Mongols don't follow honor, but historically, samurai often used stealth, traps, ambushes to win battles during wartime. Later in the game, once Jin obtains powerful armor, tools, skills, etc., it is possible for the player to simply charge into Mongol camps and solo many of the enemies without using stealth. This undercuts the idea that dishonorable tactics are absolutely necessary. The game gives you the option to play as the ghost, but then gives you enough power that you can completely ignore that option while still succeeding. As the game proceeds, many side quests begin to feel repetitive. Mongol camps, bandit dens, rescuing civilians, the structure often reuses the same templates. While players and critics have pointed out that visually and mood-wise the game is beautiful, many of the side quests don't really contribute that much to the story or character. Sometimes the AI's reactions are inconsistent and stealth detection seems arbitrary. If Jin can end up being so powerful, why were earlier honest samurai methods insufficient? Why did Jin need to become the ghost in the first place? The combat is praised for being satisfying, but some players report that later game makes many earlier mechanics obsolete. Once you get higher damage output, many fights lose a challenge. This can reduce strategic variety, stealth tools become optional rather than essential. Some enemy types are underused, or there's insufficient variations in patterns. After a while, many enemies feel like they're just reskinned versions of the others. The best duels and boss fights are strong, but many generic fights do not live up to that standard. The game has powerful families, the shogun and samurai code, but much of the political backdrop is flat. Other Japanese domains, neighboring islands, internal politics, aside from Shimura and the shogun, are barely involved. The threat feels very localized for a Mongol invasion. One might expect more diplomatic tensions, betrayals, alliances. These are touched upon, but not explored as deeply as they might have been. Jin's own relationship with Shimura, the uncle-nephew dynamic, is central, but there are moments where this relationship seems to be inconsistent. Shimura at times condemns dishonorable acts, yet later acts in a way that betrays or compromises his own strict code when it's convenient. This can be defended as a character complexity, but sometimes it feels like the writers need Shimura to be more flexible when the plot requires it, rather than letting him be more consistently principled. After killing Khotan Khan, Jin returns to find out that Shogun has dissolved Clan Sakai and has ordered Shimura to kill Jin. How did the Shogun know so much about Jin's activities, especially in a remote part of the island, or even Iki? Ordering Jin's death is dramatically powerful. The narrative simplifies political reality. The Shogun and internal authority intervene strongly and quickly, but why do other political families or figures not push back? At the final duel with Shimura, Jin has a choice: to kill Shimura, thus giving him a warrior's death, or to spare him, abandoning that part of the code. Both options lead to Jin being an enemy of the Shogun. This choice is dramatic, but in many ways, the differences are superficial. Ghost of Tsushima is a phenomenal game in many respects, but it isn't perfect. The earlier things that I pointed out don't ruin the game. I mean, far from it, but they do show that even a top-tier game can be improved. If you enjoyed this critique, leave a comment. What plot holes or issues bothered you the most? Hit like and subscribe if you want more deep dives, and thank you for watching.